Wagyu Khalsa, Wagyu Fateh. Welcome back to another video where I'm going to be going through a few more questions that people often ask me about Sikhi, and I'm going to give you my best answers. So the first question is, have you ever felt disconnected from Sikhi? If so, what brought you back? And yeah, I felt disconnected from Sikhi for lots of reasons at lots of different times in my life. The first or the biggest reason that I felt disconnected from Sikhi is often because of lack of sangat, like lack of people that are asking me about Sikhi, lack of people that I can speak to about Sikhi, lack of people that are encouraging me to focus on my Sikhi and make it a priority. And ironically, I had one Muslim and one Christian friend in university that actually helped me out a lot in terms of getting back closer to my Sikhi. So I felt disconnected quite a few times. I think the biggest reason is because of community. So I recommend, like, if you're trying to get into Sikhi, definitely focus on getting around the right people. Like, that's going to make a huge difference towards the way that you feel and the way that you see Sikhi and how much of a priority you actually make it. So that's number one. The other reason why I felt disconnected from Sikhi is growing up, I often felt like I'd been taught things inaccurately, or people would tell me something and then I'd grow up, I'd realize that that's not actually true. So, for example, growing up, people say that, if you do Ardas to Vaheguru with your heart fully open, then you can have anything that you want. And I think, oh, okay, like that's great, right? Like, I'm just gonna open my heart and ask for a Lamborghini because that's what I wanted. So, doing that or thinking about that stuff, as I grew up, I realized that it's just not true at all. Like, that's just not the way that Sikhi works. That's not the way that our Gurus have presented Sikhi to us. The way that our Gurus lived their lives, they suffered, they endured, they had their own pains and difficulties. There was no real, at least in my opinion, it wasn't about creating miracles to change the world. It was about honest living and enduring the most difficult things. And that's what Sikhi actually was about. And every time that I felt like I'd been taught Sikhi in the wrong way, it pulled me away from Sikhi because I was like, I don't even know what I'm focusing on here. So I think a lot of people have that experience where they're grown up and they're told Sikhi is going to change their life, it's going to make everything better, and it's going to make them happy and content inside. And I think it's the false promises that people have taught me about Sikhi that have made me feel disconnected from it. And the way that I've kind of been pulled back into it is by firstly understanding Gurbani and understanding how our Gurus actually live their life. And the thing that always draws me back to Sikhi is that there's no one in the world that I can look at other than my Gurus that I can say, like, hand on heart, they did not care about themselves and they did everything for the benefit of other people. Like, our Gurus actually did that. They weren't worried about marketing to us. Yeah, they weren't trying to sell a product. They weren't worried about getting some sort of gain. They gave up everything that they had in pursuit of helping people like us to live our best life. Helping people like us develop, like, gyan, develop spiritual wisdom. And when you've got people that are that dedicated to helping you, and they've got so many great examples of people that they've actually helped, why would I not go for them? Who else am I going to go to? I don't know another person, another place that I could go to that's going to give me that same care and attention, that's going to provide for me the same way that our Gurus did. People don't even have families, like parents, that provide for them as well as our Gurus have provided for you. They give us food, shelter, they give us encouragement, they give us community, they give us a way to have purpose and meaning. They give us everything under one roof. And that to me is like, and it's not just like theory. I'm like, this might work. It's like, it's true. All of the things that our Gurus have given us massively help us in terms of our mental well-being. So why would I move away from that? And all the studies that are coming out now, all the research on mental health, they're all backing up the things that our Gurus have given us. So for me, that's why I've always felt like, well, go back to what our Gurus have said. Go back to what our Gurus have done, because no one's ever cared about you as much as our Gurus have cared about us. And no one's given you as much as your Gurus have given you. So why would you turn your back on them? So that was the first question. The next question is, how do you handle the pressure of trying to be perfect when you're just figuring things out? And this is a great question, because truth be told, you need the pressure, in my opinion. Like, I don't know anyone that I really respect as a good Sikh that doesn't put pressure on themselves, or even a good person that doesn't put pressure on themselves to find out what the best thing is that they could do. The way that you handle the pressure is by focusing on one thing at a time, like one bite-sized step at a time. And if that bite-sized step is a max of your capacity, like let's say, for example, you're trying to figure out how you can stick with doing your nitnem, okay? There might be a lot of pressure on you because you're like, I need to do this. I need to really consistently get my part done. And that might feel like a lot of pressure. But it's the pressure that should encourage action. So if you're feeling a lot of pressure and it's discouraging action and you're like, I need to step away from Sikhi because I can't handle all this pressure, that's the wrong way to think about it. That's like saying, I'm going to step away from my diet and healthy living because the pressure of being healthy is too much, and then you just end up eating junk food. It's like, well, that's not a solution, okay? Or it is a solution that some people take, but it's not a sustainable solution, and it won't get you the results that you're looking for. So if you feel pressure within Sikhi, the way that you manage it is by saying, okay, look, I get it. I have to do something. I have to make a change. I have to get better at this. What's one thing, just one simple thing that I could do that is going to make my life better? It's going to bring me closer to Sikhi that I'm confident I can take seriously and push towards. And that's the way that you handle the pressure. By not trying to deal with everything at once, but just one thing at a time. And I genuinely think that's the best way to deal with things. Even from a personal development point of view, I do business consulting, even from a business point of view, it's always just, what's one thing? What's the number one thing? And most people just struggle to prioritize. And then once they have decided what they want to do, then they struggle to focus on it. And then once they decide that they're going to focus on it, then they struggle to stick with it. So like those are the 3 steps that people often like face when it comes to giving up with things and like not being able to stick with the practices that they want to implement in their lives. But what I would say is like literally just one step at a time. Take it easy, like just one step. And don't put too much pressure on yourself to get everything perfect. Imagine your guru could actually speak to you directly. What would they say to you? Yeah? So that's my advice on how you handle the pressure of trying to be perfect. Firstly, there is no perfect other than our guru. Secondly, take things in bite-sized chunks. Question 8 is, why do I feel judged by religious Sikhs even when I'm trying to learn? I don't know, man. I don't know why so many people are really judgmental. I know that actually, to be honest, I was more judgmental growing up when I would look at other people and look at their life choices. And I think it's because often people that are judgmental have got a really limited experience of life. Like they don't understand the intricacies of what people go through, their backgrounds, how complicated life can get. And it's easier for them to just label you with a brush and say that, oh, if you cut your hair, you're a bad Sikh. If you don't know your Satbania, you're a bad Sikh. Like it's just easy to do that. Yeah? So I think that that's one reason why people judge you. And the second reason why people will judge you, like even religious Sikhs, is that it's hard to say because I know religious Sikhs that I've experienced judgment from, or have judged other people that I know, friends and family, that have turned out to be absolute, like, let me just, like, you know what I'm getting with this, right? There's people that claim to be Sikh that the actions, when you really get to know them, are so far away from Sikhi. And I think a lot of the time, the reason why they judge you is because they're trying to bring you down to their level. So when they say, you're a bad Sikh, you're this, you're that, it's because they already know they're a bad Sikh. And they're trying to say, you're bad, you're below me, you're at least at my level or below me. But you should not be exceeding me because I also am not at that level that you're getting to. Yeah, it's like they're so self-conscious about themselves. Instead of building themselves up and becoming better themselves, they're focused on tearing other people down. Yeah, so that's why I think there's a lot of religious Sikhs out there that judge you and make you feel judged for what you do. But when I think about it and what our gurus would do and how our gurus would treat us and what they would say, that's not the way to do it. That's not the Sikh way. Yeah, so that's what I would say to answer this question. The next question is, can you follow Sikhi and still chase your dreams, like career success and money and things like that? Now, this is an interesting question for me to answer because I have very big career aspirations. And I would say that you absolutely can. And let me give you some context. I do consulting with a lot of businesses, and I notice that even some of the most successful businesses, like just to give you an example, one business that I worked with, he's a business owner. He's like 24 years old, 23, 24. He started making 10K a month, right? Which is like a huge goal, like something that a lot of people aspire to hit. And he hit it. And that, for a lot of people, is like, wow, I'm making loads of money at a great age, right? And he didn't feel good about himself. He didn't feel fulfilled. He didn't feel like he was doing the right things. He felt empty. And that's what a lot of the sessions that we did were focused around that. Like, actually, how do I feel better about myself? How do I feel content? What should I be doing with my time? And I think that it doesn't actually matter how much money you make. You need to make money in a framework, in a bubble of like, okay, money, I get it. We have to live. We have to pay the bills. It's a part of what we do. But it's only a part. And what most people get wrong is that they make money the most important thing, and once they achieve that, they realize that it's actually empty. Like, it's actually empty just to have money. What you do with the money could be different, yeah? Like, if you use that money to help other people, create organizations, support people's livelihood, like, that kind of stuff, like, great. You know, it's not the money that's the goal. It's actually the impact that you have with the money. That's the goal. So if you're sitting there saying, like, you know, career success is really important, I want to get to this level in my job, I want to make this much money, I want to have this kind of business, that's fine, in my opinion, as long as it's part of a bigger structure. And the bigger structure, in my eyes, has always got to include something about purpose. Yeah, it's got to have something about, like, what do you actually care for on a deeper level? And if you can't answer that question, no matter what the money is, it's not going to make a difference. Yeah, it doesn't make a difference how much you're earning. And I've worked with people that are making a lot of money, but are still internally very upset, and they're just not content. So for me, it's always about, like, what are you actually trying to build? Why is this important to you? Yeah, like, if you don't have that unlock, if you don't know what that's actually, like, what your vision actually is, then it doesn't make a difference how much money you have. It's just not going to work. And what often happens is that people have money as part of their path, as part of their journey, and the top level goal is still like Sikhi. But as the money starts to grow, they see their greed also grows, their ego also grows, their status also grows, and they replace Sikhi, right, with money. And they make money the goal, and they say that, I don't care about Sikhi as much, I care more about making more money. And as they focus more on money, they become empty and empty. And they might make more money, don't get me wrong, but it's not a good way to live your life, and it's not something that I would recommend. So my final piece of advice on this is that always make Sikhi the focus. Always make Sikhi the top level vision, the goal, the values that you live by. If you replace that with money, it's a really dangerous path to go down. Okay, so the next question is, can I really follow Sikhi and be in a relationship before marriage? Now, as you guys are probably aware, there's a lot of Sikhs now that are getting into relationships before they get married. And the short answer is, what would our gurus tell us to do? Like, because I can say whatever the hell I want, right? But it doesn't actually matter. The only thing that matters if you're a Sikh is what your guru has instructed you to do. And I don't think there's anything explicitly stated about relationships and you know, speaking before marriage and things like that. I don't know, I'm not clued up on it, right? But what I would say is that marriage is definitely an integral part of Sikhs' lives. So I would say that the way that you want to go about finding a partner should be centered around marriage. So what that means is that if your activities, or like speaking, calling, meeting new people, dating, relationships, whatever, if that's not focused around marriage, that's not the Sikhi way to do things. And if you're not sure about how to go about this, think about firstly, like I said, what would our gurus advise? Secondly, what would you want for your own, like, son or daughter? For example, like, if I think about myself, I can be like, oh, well, you know, I want this, or my ego, or my desire, whatever. And it's easy to get caught up in things. However, if I think about what would I want my son to do, how do I want him to go about this kind of thing, then it's very different. And the reason why it's different is because I'm not being biased anymore to my own desires. I'm trying to think about what's actually best for someone. And that's often what's best for you as well, but you kind of mask it and you've got this lens over your eyes of like, oh, well, this is what's best for me, or, you know, like my situation's different. And it's a load of waffle, right? But that's what I'd recommend. Like, think about what our gurus would say and think about what you'd actually want for your son or daughter. And when you're thinking about this from a guy's point of view, think about what you'd want your daughter to go through. Yeah? Do you want your daughter to have like a relationship or a few relationships before they get married? Personally, I wouldn't, right? So why would I do that now? And similarly, if you're a woman and you're thinking about your son, what would you want your son to do? Would you want him to get into a relationship? So why would you go and do that with someone else's son? Yeah? Like, and why would I try and do that with someone else's daughter if I wouldn't want my own daughter to do that? Like, that's the way that I'd approach it. Okay, and some people might be okay with it, and like I said, who am I to say like what you should or shouldn't do? I just say go back to our gurus and treat yourself as you would someone that you deeply care about and want the best for, and that's my advice on it. Yeah. The next question is, what should I do when I'm struggling to keep up with my Sikhi goals? And for this, I'd give you a very logistical plan of action. Go and find someone else that's also got similar goals and keep each other accountable. If you hold someone accountable and you have someone that you speak to regularly, you're 90% more likely to actually achieve your goals. So just go and find someone else that's got a similar goal to you. You know, go to the Gurdwara, like go on online forums or whatever, go to community groups, find other people that have got a similar goal to you and ask them, hey, I'm trying to achieve this goal. Are you also trying to achieve it? Great. Let's work together to achieve this. Every week we're going to meet up for 10 minutes and just talk about how it's went. Whether that be Amrit Villa, whether that be doing your Nitrim, whether that be doing more Simran throughout the day, whatever it is, okay? Just have that accountability and it's going to make a world of difference. So the last question is, what's something in Sikhi that you struggle to accept or understand? I think one thing that I really struggle with is accepting that our gurus are actually real. I think that's something that for me, because, you know, they lived a long time ago, because I've never actually seen them in person, like, I can read the Bani and I can Matha Tek to Guru Granth Sahib Ji, but it's still really hard for me to accept that Guru Nanak Dev Ji was a real person. Guru Gobind Singh Ji was a real person. The Battle of Chamkaur Sahib actually happened. Guru Arjan Dev Ji was actually Shaheed. Like, I've really struggled to picture that properly and see how that was real. And I think that that's just generally a thing, like, even throughout history, when you hear about, like, for example, the Black Death or other things that happened, like, you're like, okay, yeah, that happened, and I know that that happened, but really accepting that that was a reality, their lives were real, I think that that's something that I really struggle with. And I think that if I accepted that or I understood that better, it would make it easier for me to become a better Sikh, because I would take Gurbani in an even higher regard. Yeah, you know, it's like, you know something's true, but you don't fully believe it. Like, for example, for me, if I stop snacking, I know I'll get in better shape. It's like, I know that's true, but like, I'm like, nah, but I don't really like believe it. I don't live by it. I don't like swear by it. I just know it, that it happened. Yeah, or I know that it could happen. I think that that's often like the way that I see our gurus' lives. It's like, yeah, I know they're there. I know that they happened. But I don't fully like bring them within my mind and my soul. And I think that if I was to do that, it would get me much closer to Sikhi. I think that that's why Simran's so important. Like, meditating on our gurus' lives, like really thinking about what happened and what they went through and how they acted and who they were as individuals. That's something that to me is like, I struggle to wrap my head around that. But I want to wrap my head around more because I know that it's going to turn me into a better Sikh if I do. That's it for this video. If you guys did enjoy this video, then definitely do, like, subscribe, or share it with someone that actually might need to hear the answers to some of these questions. And if you've got any other questions, then definitely leave them down in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you on the next video.